Okay, welcome to today's video. Now, what I want to do today is touch on your lifestyle. And basically what we're going to do is look at some lifestyle factors that affect our fat loss. It's obviously great that we have a simplistic view of fat loss in regards to calorie deficit, protein, some basic kind of rules around that. However, simplifying it too much for some people then causes them to feel a big sense of guilt and shame because they can't carry that out. Now, there's a number of reasons why someone can't stick to a calorie deficit. We're going to touch on some really common ones in this video, and that is ones caused by a lifestyle. Primarily the modern lifestyle of chronic stress, lack of sleep, too much caffeine, and how obviously being healthy is very inconvenient in today's world. Now, when I do a video on stress, my point is to not actually make you more stressed thinking about how stressed you are. It's just to give you that awareness of what it is doing to your fat loss results and give you some ways of controlling that. That's the main thing. So obviously your body isn't going to be primed to lose fat and build muscle or maintain muscle when it's in a chronic stress. Stress has a number of impacts on the body when it comes to fat loss. When it comes to what we're eating, it's going to increase our hunger. It's going to increase our cravings for really high calorie, sugary foods, which we probably can all find. And that just comes back to if we're in a chronic state of stress, our brain is going to look for very quick, easily accessible ways to get energy in, because it doesn't know if we're getting chased, or it doesn't know if we're in a very stressful, life-endangering situation. It doesn't really know that it's a deadline and you're not going to get killed by a tiger. But it acts as the same way. It's going to mess with your blood sugar, again going back to dips in your energy throughout the day, cravings. It's going to break down muscle mass. It is going to have an impact on the part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which involves some of the aspects involved is discipline, self-control, and obviously that makes sense. And what it does is shuts off kind of that part of the brain chronically, and we go back to our previous habits and behaviors, what you've done before you probably started the plan. As well as this, another kind of really significant thing it does is it can force us to stress eat or emotionally eat, because when we eat high calorie food that release a lot of dopamine, the dopamine can lower the cortisol and obviously makes us feel better and less stressed, and that creates its own habit loop of its own. Insert food for some people for drugs or whatever kind of addictive behavior in there. Obviously it's going to make us more sick, etc, etc. Now the list goes on for all the negative effects. What I like to think of it is, I got this of own lazy. Think of a bathtub and all the stresses are filling up your bath. At some point that bath's going to overflow and you're going to hit various health decline, and fat loss is going to become really harder. What we're trying to do is take water out of the bath. So ways we can take water out of the bath and decrease the effect of that stress on our body is through chilled out methods. Now this doesn't mean doing yoga or meditating as much. Any type of yin activity. It could be saunas. I'm going to name the most popular ways I'll give to my clients. Saunas. Watch a comedy, talk to your friends, socialize, do charity work sometimes. Some people would do guided meditation, improving their sleep, getting out in nature, getting out in the sunshine. Some people do cold therapy, cold showers. Get a hobby, learn a new music instrument, be coloring in, painting. Lots of things that basically take our mind off the modern stress and allow us to zone out a little bit and allow us to focus on something else and lower that cortisol. I'll put a list up that you can kind of pick which is most likely for you to do. So if someone's basically following a calorie deficit, they're eating like they should to their calories, they're training hard, but they're chronically stressed, it's going to be so much harder to stick to that, because as I said, your hunger is going to be through the roof. You're probably going to binge out, you're going to emotionally eat, etc, etc. So you have your nutrition in check, but we just need to get the stress in check. It may be a case that adding one or two of these things in each day to lower that cortisol down, and that in itself will regulate our hunger and appetite better, and then we can stick to our plan for long enough to get results. We also have to be aware in times that we're very stressed not to actually train harder and smash ourselves even more, drink more coffee, because coffee in a sense is fine, has heaps of health benefits, but when we're stressed and our energy shit, what it's doing, it's masking our lack of energy. So it's kind of driving us further into the hole. So be aware of that as well. That is the main one I want to cover in regards to lifestyle. So there's our kind of de-stressor activities that we also need to look at creating. For every stress you can name in your lifestyle, you need to be able to name something that helps you de-stress, which where most people go wrong. And then they balance each other out and allow us to stay consistent to our plan. As I said, it doesn't mean going and doing yoga at the top of a mountain in India. It's just a matter of picking some realistic activities that you can add in a few times a day or wherever you can, that all adds up and decreasing that cortisol. For example, getting outside 3 times a week in nature has been seen to lower overall cortisol by 10%. So it all adds up and makes a massive difference. And obviously you can then monitor your hunger and your cravings, etc. And you can monitor your sleep and your stress and other symptoms of stress, anxiety, memory, fatigue. They're in check. Okay, we're doing a good job. So take that into account. Look at the holistic view that a lifestyle and stress can affect our calories in, and it's not all down to self-control and willpower. There's lots of stuff going on we need to be aware of, and when we are aware of that, it allows us to put a good plan in place. So there you go, something for you to think about today's world. Don't get stressed about stress, as I said, but just look at what realistic activities we can add into our lifestyle to keep us on track and obviously help us live a better quality of life.